welcome back. You were already here. I was already here, but we'll restart. So I'm lucky enough to be joined now by two representatives from some of the lovely Mackay-facing student associations we've had outside all day. So Adam, maybe we'll start with you from the Arts and Science Federation of Associations. Oh,
it's whatever.
I'm so sorry. I was just looking at you. So yeah, maybe if you just want to introduce yourself and your role, and then like what ASFA is.
Sure. Which camera am I supposed to look at?
I think this camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Adam. My pronouns are he, they. I am the academic coordinator for ASFA. ASFA stands for the Arts and Science Federation of Associations. It represents all 14-ish thousand undergraduate students in the Faculty of Arts and Science here at Concordia. Because of ASFA's federation model, we really prioritize lifting up the various department associations here at Concordia. So every department, every arts and science department has a department association under ASFA, and they engage in a wide range of social and political activities. Yeah.
Right on. I'm going to come back to you on the model a little bit later because we've already had a great theme around like concertation, the putting into concert. And so arts and science is like 27 departments, so there's a lot of concertation going on at ASFA. So Gabriela, Executive Director of the Concordia Food Coalition. Did you maybe want to introduce yourself?
Official title is General Coordinator
Forgive me.
The Concordia Food Coalition. I am Gabriela. I started in this position actually just a couple months ago, but I've been involved with the CFC for quite a few years now. So basically the role that I play in the CFC is to just try to organize relationships with outside organizations as well, because what the CFC stands for is systemic transformation of our food systems. Not just being able to provide food to hungry people right now, obviously a very important issue, but also to be able to build long-term solutions that will prevent people from being hungry forever, hopefully, that's the dream. We started in 2013. Probably you've heard of the People's Potato or the Hive. The People's Potato, actually, a lot of their members were founding members of the CFC in 2013, my apologies. And basically the whole concept is that all of these different organizations do a lot of work in a particular branch of the food system, either production, growing food, transformation, like what the Hive does is actually cooking the food, distribution, like the People's Potato, they give free lunches every day, and then waste management, turning organic waste into compost for fertilizer, and all of these are parts of the food system, but they're not necessarily connected to each other. So like the organic waste that comes out of your food leftovers isn't necessarily going back into fields to be used as fertilizer to grow more food. Ideally, a food system is circular like that. And all of these different groups working in these different parts of the food system put all of their energy into that particular work that they're doing. Like providing free food in this economy takes a lot of effort, a lot of resources, and it takes all of their time to do that. And what was understood in 2013 was that in order to be able to systemically transform our communities is these different pieces have to be connected to each other somehow. So we like to think of it like either, there's two different metaphors that we like to use, but they kind of mean the same thing. So like imagine the People's Potato and the Hive and Cultivation and Frigo Vert as bricks, and then the CFC as the mortar between the bricks that tries to pull them together so that we can build infrastructure collectively. And that's basically the work that we do. It's a lot of education, mobilization. We were very active in getting the Mobilizing McKay event organized today because it's about pulling people together. And happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Right on. And so I guess obviously you've been heavily involved in organizing this event, so we've had a lot of chance to talk to you about some of the different student associations that are here today. I guess for CFC, for the Concordia Food Coalition, what are the ways that you connect to the street and kind of how do you connect to Mackay what are the programming and spaces that you use? I'm thinking specifically urban ag and farmers market.
Very, very good questions. Well, first of all, our office is on Mackay Street. We have the PR Annex, which is 2100 Mackay. That's where we are physically situated, and we have a big conference room window that like looks onto the street. So when we have our big meetings, we're like always watching the people walking up and down, which is pretty cool. During the fall semester, every Wednesday from 3 to 6 p.m., there is a farmers market that we organize right here, right in front of the fourth space. And then in terms of urban agriculture, as you said, here in the downtown, not so much to our knowledge. There's not that much happening compared to Loyola campus. There's a lot of different food groups that have farms over there. And for the promotion and development of these programs, we actually have the STIR program, which is a support, training, incubation, and resources. If people have food projects that they want to build and create and expand or develop new projects for something that's already existing, we're all in favor of supporting that and giving the resources to make that possible. So it's a lot of dreaming still. There hasn't been a lot of tangible change that is observable in the street over here. Unfortunately, for example, we would have really loved to close down the street. I'm sure this has come up in conversation throughout the day today, that it would have been really cool to close the street down for pedestrians and no cars, so that we could have a much more community-based day. But it's difficult to get that to happen. You have to communicate with the city far in advance, and unfortunately that wasn't the case this time around. But food is about connecting, it's about community building, so any opportunity that we have to bring people together around food is in contribution to building community and collective action and things like that. So to answer your question very specifically, not much, besides the fact that we are on Mackay and we have the farmers market over here on Wednesdays. But the vision is there, that we would love to have, how cool would it be, all these trees were fruiting trees, and you can just go, you're hungry, there's an apple right there, just pick it and eat it. There's a lot of reasons why that doesn't happen currently, and none of them are like deal breaker reasons. It's a lot. It takes a bit of effort to make these things happen, and you have to like change your perception of what kind of efforts are needed to maintain your city. But we're trying to convince people about changing their mindsets about how we want to utilize our spaces and how we want to come together for our own communities. I feel like I'm talking. I'm gonna give the mic back to. You can ask him a question now.
Yeah, well, I mean, similar question around Mackay, but I would underline, I think I was an ASFA department or a group of ASFA students that was the last to close the street, technically. So yeah, over to Adam, I guess. What's your relationship to the street as an organization, as an organizer?
Yeah, actually, a bit before that, at ASFA we also really much believe in food solidarity with students on campus. It's been like widely communicated that the food options at Loyola are very few. As a resident NDG, I very much sympathize with that. And in fact, I think we're starting a small campaign. I believe you may have already been told that ASFA is currently in the process of helping the Hive Free Lunch start a Hive Free Dinner program. And it will be a question on our by-elections, I believe, in November to approve that fee levy. And so that will expand the high free lunch to also be a high free dinner. Yes, a high free breakfast. Sorry, yes, to be to also have a high free dinner aspect. Hopefully within the year. But yeah, for us, for ASFA on McKay, we have our office on the 4th floor of 2070. There's a lot of students, but also just other staff of Concordia that always go across the street, and it's obviously we don't want to walk to we don't really want to walk to either of the stoplights, and it'd be great if it was pedestrianized, and if there were grass. If there were both grass and obviously fruit trees. Our main thing with the pedestrianization is we did not want it to be like McTavish Street at McGill. We felt like the McTavish Street model at McGill works for McGill students and the McGill community. But our specific requests for the pedestrianization are that it's more grassier, it's more greener. The McGill one is very gray, and we did not want that. And so, yeah, and there's also the Pedestrianize McKay initiative, which is an initiative started 3.5 years ago now. Well, restarted, which has been a grassroots attempt to raise awareness and through alternate means blocked the street on McKay. Just kind of, usually it has coincided with the September climate marches. And yeah, we are also saddened today that the street is not closed off.
Yeah. Well, and including, you've made it onto the poster, and I think
Yes, I see that.
it's important to recognize, like we were talking with I don't know if you can get the shot of the poster, but the mural that Peter-McGill had put, there you go, yeah. So that was a direct intervention on Mackay to close it. But we talked, I mean, our first conversation this afternoon was with Mia, sustainability coordinator at the Concordia Student Union, and they were, talking about the history of public occupations. And, you can look at, you mentioned the computer riot in 1969, now commemorated with a lovely plaque in the lobby of the Hall building, put there by the Task Force on Anti-Black Racism. So there are definitely, I just wanted to underline the importance of that work in terms of, you can say it was an attempt to, but here we are having this conversation with city planners, with lead architects, with commerces, with so it's good. Keep it up.
Things are happening.
The other thing I guess I would ask in terms of maybe you kind of mentioned differences between Mackay and what we've seen another university do in their street closure. Could you maybe just, for those, again, there's people passing by who aren't maybe as aware of what that looks like, or who are listening in and who don't really know, could you maybe just describe, I guess, what it is that happened or what it looks like and what you'd prefer to see in terms of changes to our campus environment?
Yeah, for sure. I think, one of our main, one of the Peter-McGill's initiatives main demands is that the space, when it's eventually pedestrianized with collaboration from the city and the university and all required parties to actually approve that, is that the space be managed by, not just be managed by the university or not just be managed by the city, but rather it be a board or committee that has many students and stakeholders and community members involved. That is really a thing that we wanted. We felt in general at Concordia there isn't a lot of the governance structure at Concordia don't have many students or community members on it. So one of the things we really wanted when it is eventually pedestrianized is that we are able as students to help manage the space, whether that be by keeping it clean, approving bookings on it, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right on.
Currently, the McTavish Street is a very wide avenue, and it's not pavement necessarily. It's cobblestones, yeah. But there's these bollards at the front of it, so it's still accessible by car. And what you were talking about would be more of completely pedestrianize it, make it almost like a park, right? Ideally, the dream, to make it different from the McTavish Street in the sense that it would not be. They have the McGill Farmers Market there on Thursdays. It's a very nice area, but it's still accessible to cars. And probably there's a security question as well. Ambulances can come up there as necessary, so they can put the bollards down and cars can go in. But there's not a lot of parks around here, right? So imagine the whole street was green, and you were saying with grass and stuff. That would be wonderful. It'd be beautiful.
No, we were speaking earlier with a few people about their vision and what they'd like to see, and I think it's a credit to be critical of thinking about how we make decisions. I think there's some really interesting research that was coming out of the Office of Community Engagement and the oh no, I'm going to forget the specific research unit, but it was based in Park Extension, and it was looking at a lot of the expansion of Université de Montréal's campus as an effect on gentrification. One thing that maybe we're not as critical of, and I say we as a community, is the effect that student populations can have on a neighborhood. When you have a transitory population that maybe they'll come in, they'll rent for a couple of years and leave, it can have an effect on the local system of rental increases, poor understanding of tenants' rights, things like that. We have the Housing and Job Office, which is run by the Concordia Student Union, which is a great service on Hall 2 if you have roommate issues, landlord issues. Housing and Job Office on the Hall 2nd floor. But yeah, that's definitely something when we're thinking about, again, we're all here dreaming, thinking about what we can do with our public space. It's good to remember that as good as our intentions may be, they'll have knock-on effects. And so it's good to be that you're already bringing up issues of governance. How are we making these decisions? I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and you were saying a lot about involving as many different people as possible in the conversation. Did you have any, have these conversations already started happening? Did you already have multiple groups involved?
Yes. A while ago, and I believe a bit later you will be interviewing a certain member of Pedestrianize McKay. There was a survey that went around to the various businesses and also a few students, but mainly the businesses on McKay, because in the past we had learned that it was the businesses that had objected to pedestrianization efforts, and that caused friction. I believe the results of that survey were that some still had concerns on a personal basis. I don't know if their concerns were entirely valid. But I would also say that I definitely agree that university students can fully have a gentrifying effect on areas and communities. I think that's pretty prevalent at McGill with the so-called McGill ghetto. I don't know if I would calling it a ghetto is it's a bit of a stretch. Yeah. But I also think the interesting thing with McKay is that I believe during our research we learned that Concordia University owns most of the buildings on McKay, so that also includes the businesses. And so, to our understanding, even if those business owners did have issues with the pedestrianization of McKay, theoretically it would be at least mostly in the hands of Concordia to make those final decisions. But yeah.
Actually, that's news to me because I was just thinking, what's the difference between McTavish Street and McKay? And just a side note, Mackay, have we had that conversation on the podcast yet?
No, we haven't. I think McKay, Mackay. Want to get a ruling on this?
I think it's the bilingual approach. Maybe the Mackay is the French pronunciation, and then McKay is the English one. I don't know, but it's been back and forth, and I've had this conversation with a couple of people on the street today. Is it McKay or Mackay? Unsure. Tomato, tomato. But this is interesting to me because I was just thinking about McTavish and how the street that has been pedestrianized is between just university buildings on either side. And you're saying here that this is almost the same situation. There's businesses here. There are no businesses on McTavish where it's been pedestrianized, but here, most of the buildings are still Concordia owned. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. That does kind of simplify the conversation at hand as well, in that regard.
Right on. I guess we're talking about involving people and wanting to be involved. I guess. For each of your organizations, both separately, I guess, how would students find their way to being involved with ASFA or CFC?
I'll go first because I'm holding the mic right now. But we have events that happen. For example, today on Tuesday we have the Equinox party that we're doing at the Loyola campus. And for these events, we always love having volunteers, people to help man the table, the farmers market, as well as we love having people come and sit with us at the table and speak on behalf of the CFC and talk about what we do and bringing awareness to students in the wider community about food systems. We love talking about systemic level things, and this is not like an easy conversation. It's not just like a blurb, and it's hard to explain to people who haven't thought about it. And so having one-on-one conversations is one of the most powerful ways to have this awareness building, initiative. And you need people for that. So volunteers are lovely. We love you. Other ways to get involved is through all the different organizations involved with the CFC, like the People's Potato needs volunteers. Cultive Action needs volunteers in their gardens to help weed and harvest and plant and all these things. So we can always, you can reach out to these organizations directly, and if you're not sure what the network looks like, you can contact us and we'll give you the map and we'll help you connect with everybody. Other ways to get involved with the CFC is, we have our AGM every January, and we always want new board of directors, new members on the board. And the more diverse our board, the better. It's important to have different voices participating. And I'm going to pass you the mic, and I'll think about some other things. I'm sure there's more.
Sure. To get involved with ASWA, I mean, if you're an undergraduate arts and science student, there's a couple ways. The easiest way is for sure doing following the Instagram and newsletter of your department association. So if you're a political science student, following the Political Science Student Association on Instagram is a good thing. I know they do. I think recently they've been doing. They had a debate event, and they also had a event in Reggie's, the campus bar, and for more generally as ASWA as a whole, we'll also try to amplify the call. We'll try to amplify the events of the various department associations, and ASWA itself will organize many events. Last year, and I believe again this year, we will be doing a breakfast at a free breakfast for arts and science student at Reggie's, a bit of a brunch, and we also on our Instagram and in our newsletter we also put amplify the calls for various political initiatives on and around campus that we believe impact arts and science students. One of them today is out on Mackay is banner painting for trans resistance. So, yeah.
Right on. Go ahead.
I did actually think of a lot more things.
Okay.
So I mentioned the STIR program. That's another way to get involved, is to build projects, and we have resources and support and networks to help create those things. We are currently in the process of our strategic redevelopment planning. Our last one, we had a 3-year strategic plan, which ended this year. So we're in the process of planning for the next 3 years of activity. And we need feedback from people. So we're developing surveys and ways to ask people for their opinions and feedback and ideas. And what do you think the CFC should be doing? So answering those surveys, amazing. That'd be so helpful. There's also the committees that we have. Some of the committees from our board are open to the public. For example, the Education and Engagement Committee, to help come up with ideas for posts and with different ways of engaging with the community. We have a WhatsApp group where we share free food, and everybody is open to. It's not us sharing free food; it's the community sharing free food. So, this event here, some tables are going to have leftover food. Take a picture, put it on the group chat, say, we are in this location, we have this much food, please somebody come and get it. Or you have an event you're organizing and you are handing out free food, coffee, popcorn, whatever, put it in the group chat. We're free food here. There's community fridges here, there's community fridges at Loyola. If you're putting something in the fridge, let people know. There's free food here, come and get it. So participating in the free food WhatsApp group is like chef's kiss. And just follow us on social media. We're always calling out for things happening, and love to have people engaging with us and being a part of the events. And it's so much more it's just conversations, really. Like when you're talking about systemic transformation and community transformation, it's about changing hearts, changing minds, inspiring people, and that happens through conversations. You don't even have to be involved in the CFC to do that. Just talk about systemic transformation and you're doing the good work.
I would maybe, I'll ask something, I'll mention something that I think I'd love if you wanted to respond to, Adam, as in the role of like academic coordinator. I think it's a lot of people and will sometimes frame engagement as something you do after class or in your spare time. And that's good, and we need that, especially to open your horizons and meet new people. But I would encourage a lot more people to be bringing the things that they care about into the classroom. So many of your professors are also really passionate about a lot of issues. So coming forward saying like, hey, I'm concerned about this, can I make my paper about it? The project we're working on, can I direct my academic interest to things that I value? There's other more formal ways of doing experiential learning, but I think a lot of people are coming to the university still with the kind of factory model of education where you're a passive receiver. And we're all here having these conversations as a community of people that are here to learn and improve and get better. So I think there's a systemic transformation that needs to happen sometimes that we carry in our heads when you come to the university, that this is a platform. And I look at Adam, I look at Gabriela, I look at some of the other amazing people that were here today, and it's people that are activating that journey. They're here at the university, not passive. They're here active, they're engaged, they're in student organizations, they're in classrooms. I bumped into you at a panel in a community organization, and like there's things happening here that are open to you, but you really taking that first step of speaking to your professor, as you say, follow your department association. So I guess, what would be your advice for, first year students, younger students, about kind of how to maybe approach that of like, how do I align the things that I care about with the things that I'm studying?
Well, there's a couple ways. I would say, in my department in the School of Community and Public Affairs, there's a lot of professors and that are politically activated around multiple topics, and so they'll try to integrate it into like coursework. I also know this is true of people in like geography or political science. I believe even one of the CFC co-founders is Eric Chervier, who's a really amazing geography teacher. And so I know in his class, he teaches a class about like food systems. And I would also say when the department associations here at Concordia do political mobilization, generally a big part of that is before going on strike, generally a big part of that is doing like teach-ins, trying to have conversations around sensitive and important topics, and sometimes that's even sometimes even professors in classes allow that, and the professors will moderate these conversations. And so I definitely think it's important for people to pay attention to the things going on around them, not just in class but also outside.
Right on. Sweet.
There's a lot of opportunities to volunteer and learn through the communities that you're volunteering with, like even the People's Potato, love the People's Potato. I'm going to shout them out as much as I can. You go volunteer with them and you're going to learn so much about where the opportunities are. I'm also going to shout out the professors themselves. Part of the strategic development planning that we're doing right now is to try to involve more faculty members. Professor Vijay Kalindravari has just joined our board of directors recently, and we're having a lot of exciting conversations about how can we integrate food systems projects or ideas or research into classes through the professors themselves. So if you're a professor listening in on this, you can also give these opportunities to students by, partnering with us and opening opportunities for them in your own classrooms. But if students, especially first years, you're asking specifically about first years, it's intimidating to come into this environment and be like, I want to change the world, and I'm going to come into and talk to this authority figure in my classroom and try to influence them. Do it if you have the courage to do it. It's amazing, and they're so open for it. It's a university. This is what we do here, is talk about these things. B, if you don't have the courage just now to do that yourself, come see us. And if you have an idea, we can help you push that with the professor specifically. Like, we would be so happy to advocate for the opportunity for you to do this in the classroom, and we can be a liaison with professors and like promote how this could be useful for them and how it integrates with the curriculum, and we'll help massage this into a good pitch as well. It's good ideas.
Any closing thoughts? Anything you wanted to get across but didn't get to?
Do you have any closing thoughts?
Não quer falar nada em português?
Eu quero
Pode
falar em
cortar, manda para todo mundo.
Oi, mamãe, oi, papai.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I guess I've said the word systemic so many times that I am obsessed with this term, but it's understanding that everything that we do is like, you just take a cup, like, where does the plastic come from? Who designed this? And where was it produced? And like, how is it getting distributed? And where did we, like, there's so many questions that you ask about one thing that connects you to so many other things, and that connects you to so many other things, and just starting to practice the awareness of, it's a muscle, right? It's perspective enlarging. It's difficult. It takes effort, but just to start practicing thinking about systems will open the door to so many. You'll just start noticing opportunities to transform it and have an impact, and it helps with feeling hopeful about the world too, because if once you start thinking about systems right at the start, it gets a bit overwhelming, because you're like, I want to solve one problem, but to solve one problem, I have to solve all the problems. Yeah. And that initially is very overwhelming. But then if you keep practicing that muscle, you start discovering where the helpers are. Like as Fred Rogers would say, right? Look for the helpers, and they're there. And the more you look for them, the more you see them. And then that's what makes you start feeling hopeful, is that you notice that there is a whole alternative system that is in the works currently. And if you want to get involved with that, it strengthens that, and then it just makes it more powerful. So those are my closing remarks.
Amazing. And then anyone who's interested in following up around Mackay Street in particular?
Oh, I'm not sure about Mackay Street in particular, but I'm going to shout out at Concordia Food Coalition, Instagram. We have our website as well, concordiafoodcoalition.com. But about Ped Mackay.
I know CSU said they would put a follow-up announcement for anybody, but I'm assuming it'll be like, any students who are involved, there'll be a meeting in early October is what Mia had said. So follow their Instagram, follow CFC's Instagram, and ask for announcements on that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I have any other cool resources that would be super pertinent to McKay. Oh yeah, of course. Also the Urban Planning Association and the Geographies Association's Instagram, because I know very specifically those students have put like a lot of work and a lot of like academic and also like physical legwork into like producing reports that basically with the goal of motivating the university and the city to work together to make the pedestrianization of McKay a thing that actually happens.
Right on. Well, we'll end it there. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch over the follow-up. Like I said, the recording is the audience, so we'll pull together all this media, and then we'll produce something that, again, having those conversations, getting people involved, that's what it's all about. So.
Good job, Alex.
Oh,
They're fantastic.
all right.